Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have a junior softball player from Cromwell High School. First softball player I've had on from Cromwell in the Shoreline Conference. She's a pitcher in the circle, Lily Kenney. Lily, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is such an awesome opportunity.
Obviously, the strikeouts and what you've done as far as in the circle is one thing. And we'll talk about that and what you've done for Cromwell in, just a little bit. But, I always like to ask for the first time when I have a guest on, how did their particular sport find them? How did the game of softball find you?
Oh, when I was little, my parents signed me up for every sport: soccer, basketball, softball, and I've played since I was very young. So I've loved the game since T-ball. I still play soccer in high school, but softball is my favorite.
Would you say that playing multiple sports, and I feel like the way sports are, particularly in Connecticut, I feel like there's a lot of you have to stick to one sport. I feel like when people try to do multiple sports, it's kind of looked upon in a different way. But do you feel like playing multiple sports really helped your development in not just softball, but just kind of getting away, not getting burnt out, and then also working on things like soccer? Prime example, being able to play soccer, footwork, endurance, you need that in the circle, especially if you're throwing 150 pitches.
Yeah. I would definitely say it's beneficial. I'm a goalie in soccer, so I get balls hit at me 24/7. So I think that helps with hand-eye coordination too. So when a line drive gets hit right back at me in the circle, I have some chance of stopping it.
So it's just like if a pitch was ever getting hit back to you, you're going to catch every single one that's a line drive, right?
I hope so.
It's a good thing you play goalie. As you were moving up through your younger stage athletically, was there a particular sport that was it softball that kind of was the main attraction? Was it soccer? Tell me about that.
When I was around 12 years old, I decided I wanted to play travel softball instead because I just decided that I loved softball just a little more than soccer at the time, and I couldn't play travel for both sports, so I had to pick one, and I chose softball. And playing travel softball made me love the sport even more. So I think that's how I got to where I am today with softball.
How was your first experience in travel softball? Because I know in my conversations I've had with various softball players, it's kind of almost like a shell shocking moment. I know I had one
Yeah.
lady on, young lady who told me that she didn't even know that softball had a travel team by any means.
Yeah, it's definitely a completely different shift when playing 6 games a weekend, sometimes out of state. It's different than high school ball, which is also different than soccer. It's awesome.
Was it tough for, in the beginning of that? Because like you said, 6 games, 6 days, 7 days, whatever it is, a little bit different than high school, or even when you were younger, because more traveling, that gets added up too, especially because you're driving, you're tired, you're probably, like you said, a lot of games. Did that kind of take some adjusting as well?
I think so, yeah. But I think playing away and all those games just made me have a loving fire for the sport even more.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the fire and just being able to love it more. What do you mean by that?
Well, after you have so many losses because you're playing so much in travel, it makes the wins even better. And you get to compare your games to other games, so you know when you have a good game and you know when you don't have a good game. And I think it just makes you a better player too. So playing travel would also just benefit you for high school too.
At what point did you start to realize that pitching was kind of like this is my ticket to do something? Like, when did you realize being in the circle was your home?
When I was in Little League, I started getting pitching lessons when I was 11, 12, 10, I think even 10 is when I started. And after those lessons, I was able to see my improvement, and I just wanted to keep improving. So that's when I knew I wanted to be a pitcher.
And when you started to go through the pitching lessons and I'm sure there were some failures, obviously success, like in baseball, I talked about with you before we started. Baseball, there's a lot of failures. You fail more than you succeed. Softball is the same way. How was it kind of going through the ups and the downs in playing this game?
I always just had a mentality that like if I kept working hard,
Mhm.
then I would just open new doors and new possibilities to improvements. And like I would start very young with just working on my fastball and changeup. And then like in my head, I was like, I gotta get these down and perfect so I can move on to the next new pitch. I can learn like my curveball, which I love.
Mhm.
So that's how I kept going. Yeah.
So you're basically a perfectionist when it comes until you have those pitches down. You weren't going to go to the next one.
Yeah.
That's got to
I
be,
know.
and I'm not saying that's terrible. That's great. I wish more people were like that. My girlfriend's just like that as well, perfectionist. Everything's got to be done the right way. That's good. But at the same time, though, it's also very stressful because not every day is going to be that perfect day where sometimes, like, okay, the fastball's not there, the rise ball's not there, the changeup's not there, but it's not you. It's just everyone has an off day. How did you handle that?
Yeah, I think the key to like recovering after an off day is like knowing that you can't change what already happened. So you learn from your mistakes, then you move on to the next game. We have a game tomorrow against Westbrook, so I have to like forget about my game against Coggin today and move on to that one.
And we'll talk about this season in Coggin in a little bit. But I'm
Mhm.
talking with Lily Kenney, who's from Cromwell, a junior pitcher who's going to Adelphi.
Yeah.
Adelphi. I got it right. Got it wrong again the first time. Got it right the second time. Adelphi. I apologize if anybody from Adelphi watches. But and that's congratulations to you. That's a great honor for you to be able to continue your softball career at the next level. As you started to get close to high school, Lily, what was it like as far as kind of preparing? Because the high school game is a little bit different than even travel to a certain degree.
hmm Um, well, I knew I wanted to play softball in college when I was in middle school,
Mhm.
and I learned quickly that in order to play for like to get to college, you have to be on play in tournaments where like coaches can come watch you. So I quickly got on a showcase team where those are you basically don't play to win, you play to like play your best and play in front of coaches.
Mhm.
And I would just every day just email as many coaches as I can to get my name out there to get people to come see me and hope that when they do come see me they like what they see.
How tough was it? Because I'm sure you were on the computer like this the entire night, like emailing. Like you had like a checklist, like, okay, I got this coach,
Yeah,
I got this coach. Is that what it was like?
it was like that. And I had with all my emails, I had to also sometimes send videos of myself. So I would have my mom recording me with my pitching practices with my dad of all my pitches so I could send them to coaches too. It was a long process. I'm happy it's over.
It was a full team effort, full team from the family, the
Yeah.
Kenney family. That's awesome. But see, that's what makes the game so beautiful because for in any sport, because when you have the support of your family and there's going to
Mhm.
be that situation, like you said, having to email all the coaches and go through stuff like that, it just makes it that much better when you see the finished product, seeing yourself being able to play. And I know they're going to go as many games as they can attend to be able to see you pitch.
Mhm.
You know, so that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you freshman year of high school at Cromwell, uh, just kind of take me into that first year. How was that?
I didn't have a first year because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So my first year playing high school softball was when I was a sophomore last year. And I was at the time I was playing 18U softball when I was 16, 17. And my teammates would ask me what my first year of high school softball was like. And I would have to tell them I've never played high school softball before.
And how was that? And I completely forgot about that because you're only a junior, so you didn't
Mhm.
have a freshman year. So
No, I
really,
didn't.
your sophomore year was your freshman year in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. So
Yeah.
that must have been like the adjustments. Could you think about the reps? And but at the same time, you were getting those reps playing 18U.
Yeah. Well, from at the time I was on my showcase team, our games are timed for like an hour and a half. So
Mhm.
I had to adjust to high school because I would have to pitch 7 innings. And that was a lot for me at times, especially if we have like 3, 4 games a week.
Mhm.
So I had to make adjustments like icing my shoulder and making sure I'm not throwing too much when I don't have to.
And were you able to make those adjustments properly?
Yeah, it took a little bit, but I think my arm eventually like got stronger and I was able to throw the entire games.
Now, during that point, were you doing any workouts either at the gym or at home or using a band or light shoulder exercises to keep your shoulder? Because I know for obviously for pitchers, either in the circle or on the bump in baseball, the biggest part is the shoulder. If you don't have your shoulder, that's no bueno. Then you can't throw anymore. So, were you able to do anything like that to keep your shoulder strong?
Last year, I didn't use any workouts or anything, but this winter, I started weightlifting and core training and having sessions with an actual trainer. And I already feel so much stronger. I wish I started last year. It's been so helpful. And I'm taking like a break right now because of my season, but I'll
Mhm.
start up again after. I love it so much. It's awesome.
Talk to me about why do you love it so much?
Well, it's almost like I can see like it's the whole thing like how I can see myself making the small improvements and being able to like lift more and more each lesson
Mhm.
and knowing that like by working out and having all this lifting that I will eventually get to a place that's even better where I am right now. And I'm just excited for that.
Would you say that you're a perfectionist in that too? With your
Yeah.
lifting? I kind of figured. I doubted that it was just going to leave the pitching side. It would leak into other stuff. Which there's
It
nothing
does.
wrong with that, you know.
Yeah, and to schoolwork too, everything.
In score too. So if you get an A-, it's like, oh boy, I got an F. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
I figured. But you know what? A-, aren't bad. Trust me,
No.
they're not too bad. So I want to fast forward to your junior year a little bit. Uh, technically your second season in high school because you did not have a freshman year. Coming into the season, what were expectations that you had for yourself?
For myself, I was expecting that I would get more strikeouts than last year because I was doing my weightlifting and I was practicing in the winter with my team, and I was making sure I made time to practice with our catcher on the team to get that chemistry and to really be on the same wavelength as them for calling games. So I was hoping that and expecting that I'd be better than last year. And so far, it's going really well. So I'm happy about that.
No, it has because, like you told me before we started this, 56 Ks and however many innings that you've thrown, and even though you've had your first bad start against Coggeshall, um, it's still it's vast improvement. Like every time that you're in the circle, because you missed your freshman year, so any amount of reps you get extra is good for however many games that you end up pitching before you end up going to college. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's one
Yeah.
of those things that's very, very valuable. That relationship with your catcher, as far as being on the same wavelength, is that. Did you feel like going into your first game that was that it was there, or do you feel like it kind of still needed to go through some games to get to that point?
I think it was already there and that it's getting even better now. Like our first game, I only had to shake her off on like some pitches like twice or 3 times. Now I never shake her off. She always knows what pitch I want. I don't even have to think about it.
That's the best part when you don't even have to think. It's just get the sign and go because the more you shake off, the more you think, then you're in that circle longer and then the tension starts to kind of get there,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
So as you were going through this season, and I know you haven't played, pitched a lot of games this yet, only your 6 games in you guys are, and you're 5-1, you lost to Coggeshall. What was your best start that you had thus far in the circle?
I think my best game so far
Correct. In your junior
was,
year.
yeah, it was probably North Branford that we played last week. Or
In
was
the
it this
rain.
week? Yeah, in the
That's
rain.
in the rain. And
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, pitching in the rain, and you were telling me how obviously the ball wasn't being put in play that much because you had 17 plus strikeouts, whatever it was. Just take me into that day. How were you able to get that many strikeouts?
Well, last season North Branford was a really good team. They still are a really good team, and they beat us twice. So I kind of had a fire inside me, and I really wanted to win. And I think our whole team we had really strong vibes that day. We all wanted to win. So I got on the mound. I had a really good warm up before the game. I was confident, and I think part of the key is the confidence. Like I had the mentality, like I'm going to strike everyone out. So I did exactly that.
And the fire that you speak of, was it kind of like the Tom Brady fire, like screaming after every strikeout? Was it like that?
Yeah, it was like we played this team before. I know I've gotten better, so I just had those expectations for myself, and I tried my hardest to pitch all my pitches right.
And it showed with the game. I mean, up until that point, you were undefeated. Now losing the Coggins, you suffer your first loss of the season. But even in that loss, I feel like it's a learning experience for you and your team.
Mhm.
You'd rather lose, not to say you ever want to lose, but you'd rather lose now and figure out what was wrong than
Mhm.
lose in the CIC state tournament and then your season's over.
Yeah, it was a very eye-opening game today because all their players, when they were hitting, they would move up in the box and try to catch my pitches before they would break. And we haven't played a team that's done that against me yet. And it was very challenging in the first few innings, and I had to make adjustments that I haven't had to do yet this season.
Mhm.
So that was hard, and I hope next time we play them, I'll be able to get on top of that.
Now, when you say they were moving up in the box, I know you don't watch baseball, but I know Ichiro, when he played back in the day with the Mariners, he would kind of run towards and try to leak his way forward to get his momentum. Were they doing something like that by any chance?
I don't think so. I think they were just up in the box, and
Okay.
because um my pitches like all pitches they break around the time where they get to the plate. So if they're in front of the plate,
Mhm.
then they get it before it breaks, and I'm gonna have to work on making my pitches break sooner.
So it sounds like to me that you'll be back in the laboratory trying to figure out exactly what went wrong, type it into the computer, and
Yeah.
then coagulate, figure it out, do whatever you got to do. And then, if you see them again, you'll make the adjustment.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's very smart by you. Very smart, especially coagulate. I can't spell that. I don't know if you can. So before I let you go, and Lily, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast. You're going to El Delphi. I said it right
Yes.
first time. Division 2. I think they're in the NE10, correct?
Mm. Yeah.
Because that's the same conference as UNH, University of New Haven. I've done
Yeah.
some games in the past for baseball and softball too. Very nice field if you get the pitch
Hmm.
there. It's a beautiful field.
Beautiful.
It's very beautiful. It's right next to the baseball field actually too.
Hmm.
Um, Talk me into, and you're only a junior, so you committing early is fantastic because now you don't even have to stress about no more sending emails to 100 coaches. You're good. You can enjoy yourself
Yeah.
for a year and a half. Just take me into how you found the school, they found you,
Mm.
what led you to committing there.
So while I was trying to get recruited last summer and the fall before that, I would go to camps all the time. And I first met the Adelphi coach at one of those camps. And I emailed her afterwards, like how I would email all the coaches. And she emailed me back saying that she was impressed with what she saw with me, and that she wanted me to send her my schedule for my showcases in the summer. So that led to her coming and watching my games, and I would follow up her, and I would go to their specific camps. And then I found out I would research the school, and I fell in love with the school. It was very beautiful. I loved the campus. I loved the location. So I I kept emailing the coach. I kept giving her my schedules, and then they gave me an offer, and I couldn't not take it because they had everything I loved. and I didn't want to decline their offer and wait to go to another school that might not have everything I want.
It must have been
So
the fire. They must have saw the fire, right? That they had to see that. That must have been the selling pitch. It had to be. But that's that kind of stuff though. And after you signed and did your commitment and whatnot, did you feel like a sense of not like, oh, it's over with, like thank gosh, but kind of like you like this was like, you talked about earlier, your dad would be catching, your mom would be filming, and just the whole family aspect. Do you feel like it was like exactly what you kind of dreamed of, like in a movie, in a sense?
yeah, I didn't think I would just love the school so much until I actually saw it and everything. And when I got the offer and I would call the coach and we met in person, I just loved it even more. So I'm so grateful for the chance to go there. And I can't wait to sign this fall
Oh,
around September.
so September you'll
Because
be
because
okay.
I'm a junior, I'm a verbal commit right now.
Okay, so I apologize. Didn't sign yet. You'll be signing in the fall. So my
Yeah.
apologies. Don't want Delphi getting mad at me again. Two times they could get mad at me. First for that, the other time for not getting the school's name right. But Lily, that was awesome to be able to have you, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Before I let you go, really quick, uh, season goes by quick. Softball, baseball in high school, it flies. It's like a marathon, 8, 10
Yeah.
weeks, and then before you know it, oh, it's the summer. Where did the season go?
Yeah.
Obviously you and your team have aspirations of not just winning the shoreline, but also winning states. Just kind of for people who have not been to a game yet to see Cromwell, what can they expect from your team?
I think you can expect that when you look at our team, we all love each other so much and we encourage one another, and you'll never see us holding our heads down. We always fight to the very end. Like in our Cog game today, we kept hitting until the very last inning, and we always try our hardest, and I love the girls behind me. I feel so comfortable pitching knowing that my team has my back. So if you go to a game, no matter who we play, it'll be a great game.
And there'll be a lot of K's as well. As I'm getting choked talking about the K's, there'll be a lot of K's, I would assume.
Hopefully.
But Lily, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast again. I appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of this season, and hopefully Cromwell can make that run as we were talking about, being able to get the job and try to continue from the success of last year as well.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
No
So
problem.
amazing.
I'm glad you had fun. That's the best part about it. You have fun. But that'll wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Audrey. You can find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.